Today on Amazing Dinosaurs is a T-Rex versus I-Rex collection, and I've got a bin overflowing with T-Rexes and I-Rexes here. Plus, I've got one of the new dino trackers right here that we'll check out as well. Let's get started with these super colossal figures. This is the Jurassic World Dominion T-Rex with the dark brown coloring and the black detailing along its body. The other super colossal T-Rex I have selected for this collection is a custom colored one. Check out this light blue coloring and the dark red eyes. And this T-Rex figure is definitely a lot older than the Dominion T-Rex figure. And we're gonna stand them together on the T-Rex side. And now for the I-Rex side. This is the super colossal I-Rex figure. I believe was released as part of Camp Cretaceous. It's got a whole lot more bumps and texturing compared to the T-Rex figures, and I love its teeth. And that figure is gonna go over here on the I-Rex side. And next up, why don't we open up the brand new Dino Trackers Indominus Rex. Now this new I-Rex figure is very interesting. It's actually quite a bit smaller than many of my other I-Rex figures. You can see the barcode scanner right there for the app, so you can check that out on your phone. Of course, it's still got the same coloring and detailing as many of the other I-Rex figures, but this one has a feature that I don't know I've ever seen before. It has the button on its tail to activate the chomping. But check that out, there's some glowing green lights inside. That's pretty cool. So now let's set this on the I-Rex side, right in front of the Super Colossal. Now let's go over here to our bin and grab another T-Rex. We're first gonna go with this one. I believe this is a Camp Cretaceous Battle Damage T-Rex. They actually released another one for Jurassic World Dominion that's pretty similar, other than it has different coloring. But these figures are pretty cool because they've got the huge battle damage on the side that you can turn on and off with the click of a button. That's pretty cool. And we're gonna place this right underneath the Dominion T-Rex. Now back to the I-Rexes, we're gonna grab this camouflage I-Rex one. This one looks pretty wild. Now this one is actually a custom colored I-Rex. So all this coloring you can see here was done in detail by someone that I bought from on eBay. Even the blood on its mouth too. That's pretty awesome. Now let's find a place for it on the I-Rex side. How about way there in the back? There we go. Now back to the T-Rexes. We're gonna go with this big figure. This is the Terran T-Rex. This Jurassic World T-Rex has the classic brown coloring over most of its body and a slightly lighter underbelly. You can see it's got some hidden battle damage along its face. It looks like those are kind of scars. That's pretty cool. But the special feature of this figure is the button on its back, which causes a huge tearing action. And not only that, but there's another button on its back to swing the tail back and forth too. So now let's set this on the T-Rex side, and we're gonna have it go way in the back over here. And this T-Rex is really face to face with that I-Rex figure. Next, let's grab this huge I-Rex figure right here. This is the Battle Damage Edition I-Rex. Check out the size difference between this one and the Dino Tracker I-Rex that I just bought. This one might be twice the size of that one. And it's still got all the cool texturing and spikes and detailing. Plus it has the battle damage on its side that you can turn on and off. Now let's set this one in the back here, right next to the Super Colossal I-Rex. For the T-Rexes, we're gonna go with the Jurassic World Dominion version. Now this T-Rex figure looks very similar to the Dominion Super Colossal figure right here. You can tell that this was the color theme that they were going for that film. And like many other T-Rex figures, it has the tail that can move the torso around, as well as open and close the jaw. We're gonna put this one right next to the older Super Colossal T-Rex. Let's dive back in here. This other giant T-Rex figure is one of the classic I-Rexes. This Jurassic World figure is pretty similar to the battle damage one way back here, except that it doesn't have the battle damage on the side. Instead, it has a button right on its back used for slashing its claws. Plus, of course, you can use the button on the tail to activate the jaw. And we're gonna set this one right next to the Battle Damage I-Rex. This is the Stomp and Escape T-Rex from Jurassic World. And this figure is built a little bit differently than a lot of the other T-Rex figures. You can see that its legs actually have different joints, as well as this big joint right in its torso. And I'll show you what that does. So it has this really cool action where it lifts up its head to roar. And the other cool part is that you can actually twist the tail to get stomping actions with sound effects. So that's why those weird looking joints are right there. And of course, this T-Rex figure is gonna go on the T-Rex side. This next one is a pretty special I-Rex figure. This is a hybrid edition I-Rex. Now this Jurassic World figure actually came out for the first Jurassic World movie and was made by Hasbro instead of Mattel, who makes many of the newer figures now. It's got some crazy coloring on its arms and its underbelly and feet, and a bright red along its back and its head too. Plus there's a hidden action button on its side that you can press to activate more spikes on its back. So now let's set this on the I-Rex side, right on the front lines. Now right here is that Jurassic World Dominion battle damage T-Rex that I was telling you about earlier. Now let's compare it to the earlier version that they released, and they're pretty similar in shape and size. I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually the exact same figure, but with different coloring. And this Dominion version is a much more like orange-brown coloring over all of its body, but it's still got the battle damage on its side. Now let's set up this T-Rex right next to the others. This next I-Rex figure is pretty unusual actually. It looks totally different than many of the other figures. This figure is still made by Mattel, but I believe it's from the Imaginext line. So it looks to be like a figure for a slightly younger audience. But it has one of the most unique attack actions that I've ever seen. When you move its tail up and down, it actually swings its torso in all sorts of directions. That's pretty cool. That is very unique too. So let's go ahead and set it down on the I-Rex side. This T-Rex figure is another extreme damage T-Rex, but it is not like the others. And that's because it does not have the battle damage opening on the side that you can press a button, but rather it has this painting all over its body for the battle damage. And other than that, it has a very orange coloring with the darker brown on top. And let's set it in the back here next to the Dominion T-Rex. This I-Rex figure is another one made by Hasbro for the first Jurassic World movie. And it sure is quite a bit different. First off, it's got this real feel skin along its neck and on the top of its head. And instead of having a chomping button on its tail, you can actually move its arm to open and close its mouth. And you can kind of tell on its back that it has lights underneath whenever you move its arm, but it's pretty faint, so you can't really tell when it's light out. But nonetheless, let's set it down on the I-Rex side here. For the T-Rex side, we're gonna go with another figure that was released for the first Jurassic World movie, made by Hasbro. This smaller T-Rex figure is a light tan color, much lighter than the Dominion damaged T-Rex back there. And it looks pretty different in design too. It has a much longer head, a smaller body, and it has a single action button on its back for the chomping action. Now this figure is pretty old, so it doesn't work as well, but we're gonna put it right next to the extreme battle damage T-Rex on this side. Up next, we've got the Feeding Frenzy Indominus Rex figure. This figure is a whole lot smaller than a lot of the Indominus Rex figures we've seen so far, but it still has a pretty large face for how small its body is. And it's got some unique special features. First, there's this button on its nose that you can get some sound effects from. Then you can move its tail to open up its mouth. Then you can feed this Indominus Rex by pressing down on its mouth, and it'll chomp its mouth closed. Now let's set this I-Rex right on the front lines against the T-Rexes. This next figure is a classic T-Rex, I think was released for the second Jurassic World movie, which is Fallen Kingdom. It's got the classic brown body with a darker top and a button at the top of its head for the chomping and roaring action. And we're gonna put this guy right on the edge because we're running out of space for all these T-Rexes. This is the Sound Surge Indominus Rex figure released for Jurassic World Dominion. It's pretty basic in design. It has the same coloring as all the rest, but its one big feature is that it has this speaker on its side and this button on the top for the sound effects. Let's place this dino right behind the Feeding Frenzy I-Rex. And I've actually got the Sound Surge edition for the T-Rex as well. It's actually a little bit smaller than the I-Rex figure, but it still has the button on its top for the sound effect. And we're gonna place this one on the front lines of the T-Rex side. This next figure is an even smaller I-Rex figure. This is from the first Jurassic World movie as well. It has some battle damage on its side that you can open and close, and you can use the tail on this figure to move the head and chomp its mouth. Now let's place this kind of in the back for the I-Rex side. We're getting down to just a few T-Rexes left. This is a Lego T-Rex figure for Jurassic World. It has kind of similar coloring compared to the Jurassic World regular figures with the brown, and it's got some darker brown detailing along its body. So why don't we place this right up front here next to the Sound Surge T-Rex. I've also got the Lego I-Rex figure. This one, interestingly, is actually a similar color to the Lego T-Rex over here instead of the classic gray coloring for the I-Rex. I think that makes it pretty cool. Plus, it has some really cool teeth. They're pretty unique, I think. Check that out compared to the T-Rex over here. And here's the I-Rex's teeth. And our next T-Rex figure is a super small green T-Rex figure from the first Jurassic World movie. It's got a pretty large face for its size. It has some battle damage right on the side of its body, and you can use the tail to chomp the head and move the head back and forth too. Let's set this up right next to the Lego T-Rex. And here is our final I-Rex. This, I believe, is the Bite and Thrash Indominus Rex. Now, similar to this T-Rex that we just saw a moment ago, this one has the battle damage right on the side, and you can use the tail to move the head up and down and chomp the jaw. And we're actually gonna leave this figure right here, right in front of the Lego I-Rex. And here is our final figure of this collection. It is a juvenile T-Rex figure. It has a light green body with a darker brown accenting on its back, and you can use the tail to chomp the mouth open and closed, which is pretty cool considering how small this figure is. Now the full collection is set up. Who do you think would win in this battle? The T-Rexes or the I-Rexes? Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out a huge collection of Tyrannosaurus Rex versus Indominus Rex. First up, we've got the Jurassic World Dominion Super Colossal T-Rex. This figure has a dark brown side and black top with a lighter underbelly, and it's got adjustable arms, legs, and a tail. And up front, I can tell that the plastic is a bit softer on its neck. The rest of its head is a hard plastic, and you can open it up way wide, and you're able to actually swallow smaller dinosaurs down to the stomach compartment. That's pretty cool. Next up, we've got another super colossal figure. This is an Indominus Rex. It has the classic light gray body and is pretty detailed with all the spikes and the spines. It's got some spines up there, it's got some behind its elbows, it's got those super long claws on its hand. And just like the T-Rex, you can adjust the arms, the legs, you can swing the tail around. But on this figure, you can also twist the neck too. Here is the next figure. It's another super colossal Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one has the light orange body with a lighter underbelly. And just like the Jurassic World Dominion Tyrannosaurus Rex, the neck is actually a little bit softer. It's like a softer plastic right there. And you can move the arms, the legs, the tail, just like the other ones. And of course, this one has the stomach compartment for eating smaller dinosaurs. And we've got some brand new figures that we can open up first before we dive into the rest of them. This one is the PNSO Wilson the Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure is super detailed. Look at all that texturing on its body, all the various shades of colors. It's like lighter right here, there's darker shades. These are a lot more detailed than a lot of the Jurassic World figurines. But unfortunately, they're not as posable. Usually you can only move their jaw. All right, let's dig in. This first Tyrannosaurus Rex is the Battle Damage Edition. It has the light orange body. You can see that there's scrapes and slashes all over its body, even on its face and nose. And it has a fully posable body, plus the button at the top of the head for chomping. Over here, we've got an Indominus Rex, the Extreme Battle Damage Edition. With this one, you can actually turn the battle damage on and off. That's so cool. Each time that you press that button, it delivers a roar sound effect too. On the rest of the figure, the arms and the legs are fully adjustable, and there's a button at the tail that controls the jaw. Here we've got the epic Roarin' Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure is light brown on the sides, dark brown on top, and the lighter underbelly. And the coolest part is the roar and shaking sound effects. Over here is the Jurassic World Chompin' Indominus Rex. This is a bit of an older figure. It's got the hard plastic on the back and the rubber on the neck and head. You don't see that too often nowadays. And for the chomping action, you pull down on the arms to open and close its mouth. I believe this figure is the Bite and Fight Tyrannosaurus Rex. As you can tell by the name, it has one big special feature. Press this button on its back and it does a tearing action. Swings its head around and closes its mouth real fast. And there is also a secondary button that swings its tail back and forth. I believe this figure is the Destroy and Devour Indominus Rex, but you'll notice that it has some custom coloring. So, this definitely does not look like your typical Indominus Rex. And this figure really pops out on my display shelves. My favorite part being those green eyes right there. Next up is the Stomp and Escape Tyrannosaurus Rex. As you can tell by the name, it has two features. The first, when you press this button on its back, it'll escape from its face cage. Just like that. And the second feature is Stompin'. When you twist the tail, it stomps its feet up and down. Comes with sound effects too. Here we have a classically colored Destroy and Devour Indominus Rex. This figure is pretty detailed over its body. It's got tons of spikes on its back. It's got those spines right along its neck. It's got some unique coloring along its eyes, right next to those orange eyes. And this figure has a few different features. First, when you bend the legs forward, it'll actually point its head down. And when you bend them back, it'll point its head upwards. Secondly, there's a button on its back that's used for slashing. And finally, there's a button on its tail for the chomping and roaring. Here is an Extreme Battle Damage Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure is pretty poseable. You're able to move the arms, the legs, and swing the tail around, as well as adjust the neck and open and shut the jaw by hand. But the coolest part is the battle damage that you can turn on and off, just like the Indominus Rex that we saw earlier. And you can see it on both sides. Next up, we've got the Extreme Chompin' Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure has a more gray-brown coloring on the sides, with a darker brown on top and the light underbelly, and is adjustable just like many of the other figures. And it has the button at the top of its head for chomping and roaring. Here is another Indominus Rex, but this does not look normal. This is a hybrid Indominus Rex. So this one has some pretty awesome and unique coloring along its body. It's the only Indominus Rex to have red on its body, I believe, as well as the gold on its arms and its belly. And this dinosaur has a few features. First is a hidden button that activates its spikes on its back. Secondly is the chomping action, which you activate by moving its arm. Here we have, I believe, another Extreme Chomping Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one, though, has the orange body with the brown coloring on the top with the lighter underbelly. And of course, that chomping button right on the top of its head. This is the Stomp and Chomp Tyrannosaurus Rex. It has the typical orange body with the brown top and lighter underbelly. And what I really like about this figure is that you use the tail to control the head and the whole front of the body for chomping and for roaring too. Here we've got a model Indominus Rex, which I don't see that many of. But what I like about these models is that they're so much more intricately colored and textured. Check out those spikes on its back. They're so small on all those little spines and all those little horn things right along its back all the way to its tail. And just like many other model figures, you can't adjust the arms and legs. Only the mouth can open and close in these. But these sure look epic on a display shelf. Next up is the Legacy Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is one of the few Tyrannosauruses that I have that are this cool green color with the black detailing on the top. It has that same button on the top of its head for chomping. And this T-Rex actually came with a baby T-Rex in the same pack. So these came together. Here is a smaller Indominus Rex figure with the battle damage on the side that you can open and close. And while most of its body is that iconic gray color, it does have some gray-green coloring along the top, which is different from most of my other Indominus Rex figures. Plus, this figure comes with a chomping action when you move the tail. Way at the bottom here, I've actually got the T-Rex Anatomy Kit. Now I am missing a few pieces to it. It's really easy to misplace these, but it's really cool that you can take this apart to check out all the different body parts within. You can take the ribs out, you can see this muscle on its tail and the bone behind it, and you can even take apart this foot right here and see what's underneath. How cool is that? This is the Bashers and Biters Indominus Rex figure. This is from the old Jurassic World toy line, and it has similar coloring to the rest of them, a little bit darker gray on top, got the battle damage on the side, and of course you can move the tail to control the face. This is a Tyrannosaurus Rex figure, but I believe it is a juvenile or even a baby T-Rex. You can see it's got the mouth restraint on, because the humans are actually healing its leg. It's got a broken leg, so it's got this bandage around it. And this figure is very adjustable too. You can move all the limbs, even at the elbows. And of course you can move the tail and twist the head around and even open and close the mouth. This is the Feeding Frenzy Indominus Rex. This is a lot smaller than most of the Indominus Rex figures, but it has quite a large face to it. And it has a few features. The first is when you press this button on its nose, get some sound effects. And the second is when you move the tail, it opens its mouth to eat, and then you can press down on its tongue to clamp shut its jaw. And last of all, I've got a few small figures in here. Got a Lego Indominus Rex figure, which is pretty cool. It's the only Lego figure that I have in this bin, at least. We've also got some miniature Tyrannosaurus Rex figures from Jurassic World. This one is green with a light underbelly, and the second one here is brown with a light underbelly as well. And I also have these two Indominus Rexes in this bin. The first one is white with silver, reflective silver on its top, and you can open and close the jaw. And the second one is a clear Indominus Rex. You can't move any parts on this figure, but I think it's pretty cool that it's see-through. Today we're checking out a giant bin full of T-Rexes, Indominus Rexes, Giganotosaurus, Spinosauruses, and I've even got some brand new ginormous ones that we're gonna open up as well. Let's get started with these Spinosauruses since they're right on the top. This first one is a custom colored Spinosaurus. I think it was originally a Camp Cretaceous version of the Spinosaurus, but now it has even cooler coloring all over its body. And my favorite part are those evil green eyes. Those look so cool. This next Spinosaurus is the original Camp Cretaceous Spinosaurus with the red spine and the red face. It's got the huge front arms and the even bigger back legs and a tail that is adjustable as well. Let's check out some of these biggest T-Rex figures in the bin next. This first one is an orange Battle Damage Edition T-Rex. You can see the slashes all over its body, even on its tail, and some on its face as well. And like many of the classic T-Rex figures, you can use the button on its head to open its jaw. This next T-Rex is a Terran T-Rex. It's got the gray body with the brown top, and the biggest feature is when you press this button on its back, it does a tearing action with its jaw. Check that out. It closes its mouth and it swings its neck away at the same time. Plus there's a second action button on its back to activate the tail, which has 2 joints, which is really cool. And this T-Rex right here is an extreme battle damage T-Rex. It's got some cool coloring all over its body, but the biggest feature is the battle damage that you can activate by pressing the button. Check that out. So you can turn it on and off on both sides of its body. Plus, the rest of its body is fully posable as well. It's got the tiny little arms and the huge back legs. Next up are some huge Indominus Rex figures. This first one is the classic, I believe it's the Camp Cretaceous Indominus Rex. It has 2 action buttons. The first activates its claws, and the second on its tail activates its jaw. Plus, there's quite a bit of detailing all over its body as well. Check out all those little bumps and spikes, and those super long spikes right on its neck too. And I love the shading on its face. It's really cool. This next Indominus Rex is custom colored. It is super bright and unlike anything that you might see in the movies. It's got some blue, it's got purple, orange, and black. Still has the same awesome texturing and detailing all over its bodies, and the same action buttons, one to activate the claws, and one to activate the jaws too. And the best part are the lime green eyes. Right over here, we've got an extreme battle damage Indominus Rex. This figure still has the action button on its tail to open and close the jaw. This one has sound effects, but the action button on its back actually activates the battle damage, just like the T-Rex that we saw. That's not working too well right now. There we go. It took a minute, so I think something's a little bit wrong with the internal system, but you can see that there's red that's showing through the battle damage now. Here we've got an older Indominus Rex. I believe this one is from the first Jurassic World movie, so it's quite a bit different. You'll see that the front is entirely rubberized. Even the teeth are made out of rubber. You can use the arm to open and close the jaw. And the rest of its body is a hard plastic, so it's pretty interesting. And you can move the back legs as well. Let's check out these Giganotosaurus figures. This first one is ginormous, and it has 2 actions. The first is activated by a button on its back that swings its entire torso around. And there's a button on the bottom of its tail to operate just the jaw alone. Plus, this figure has some pretty cool detailing as well, and of course the iconic huge spine going all the way up its back. Before we go any further with the bin, let's check out this huge brand new one. This is the Jurassic World Giga Dinosaur by Imaginext. All right, here is the fully assembled huge Giganotosaurus. This one is a lot larger than many of the figures I have, plus it has some extra features as well. You can move the head up and down, you can twist its neck around, so it's pretty adjustable. Plus, when you roll it back and forth, it actually moves its legs, so it looks like it's stomping. Plus, it has some sound effects too. And the coolest part is that you can press a button on its tail to open up its jaw and light up its eyes too. And in addition to that, you can also pick it up right here and it'll make a huge roaring sound effect. This figure is ginormous, and it even comes with this little tiny character too. And next up, we got another Imaginext thrashing Indominus Rex figure. Let's open it up. All right, here's the figure. It's around the same size as many of the Mattel Jurassic World figures, but it looks totally different. It's got some blue spikes on its back. It's got these huge orange eyes as well. And you can actually use the tail on this figure to swivel its head all the way around. It's a really unique movement. Let's check out the rest of the bin. This is a Giganotosaurus figure, not made by Mattel. I can't remember the brand that made this one, but it is super detailed and quite a bit different looking compared to Mattel. Check out all those teeth. They're actually even a little bit sharp. It's also got the green eyes as well. You can't move the rest of its body, but it has some pretty amazing detailing and coloring too. Right over here is another Giganotosaurus figure. This one is from Mattel and is the Sound Surge edition. It's got a button on its back right here to activate the sound effects. Next up is another Spinosaurus figure. This one has a darker skin than many of the Spinosaurus figures that I have. Still got the red spine, and you can open and close its mouth too. Here is a model Indominus Rex figure, so it looks quite a bit different than what Mattel has released, but it's still got all the spikes along its back. It's got some evil looking eyes and teeth as well. And of course you can open and close the jaw, but the rest of the body parts cannot move. Up next, we've got an old Jurassic World T-Rex. This one is actually custom colored with the red, the black, and the green underbelly, and there's an action button on its back to open and close its jaw. Over here, we've got the Funko Pop Jurassic World Dominion T-Rex with the brown body, the all black eyes, and all those teeth. Check out this model T-Rex figure. It's got a dark green body with the black striping, so it probably would blend into the jungle pretty well, and it's got tons of teeth. And on this model figure, you can open and close the jaw too. Over here is an old Indominus Rex figure from Jurassic World. It's got the battle damage on the side that you can open and close, and you can use the tail for a chomping action. And this is an even smaller Indominus Rex from Jurassic World, also an older figure. It's got some battle damage on its side. You can't open or close it, but you can still use the tail to open and close the mouth. Here's another model Spinosaurus figure. This one is a lighter color. It's got some gray with black splotches everywhere. You can kind of tell that there is a green stripe right along its spine. And just like the other model figures, you can open and close the mouth. Here is the Rowdy Roars Indominus Rex figure. It's got these super big back legs, the tiny front legs, a little itty bitty tail that actually controls the jaw, and when you press down on the tongue, it snaps its jaw shut. Here is the Funko Pop Jurassic World Dominion Giganotosaurus figure. It has similar coloring as the Mattel figures. It's got some all yellow eyes, huge teeth, and of course the big spine all the way down its back too. Here's an old Jurassic World Spinosaurus figure, and this is actually a special one because it's colored so brightly. It's got the blue and the red with the black striping right along its spine. And you can use the tail to operate the mouth too. Right over here is a basic Spinosaurus figure from Mattel. It's got the green body with the red spine, and you can move the arms and the legs and the tail as well. I've got another Jurassic World Spinosaurus figure. This one is really small, but it's got a bright yellow and orange spine, and you can press down on the head to open and close its mouth. Over here is a tiny T-Rex figure from Jurassic World. It's got the battle damage on its side, and you can use the tail to open and close the mouth. And here is another model Spinosaurus, but I believe this one is a juvenile Spinosaurus because it's a lot smaller and just looks a bit younger, but you can still open and close its jaw. Today we've got a T-Rex versus I-Rex haul. We've got a ton of figures and we're gonna be putting them over here to face off against each other. Let's first set up these super colossal figures. This is the Camp Cretaceous Indominus Rex. It's got a super bumpy texture all over its body and it's got some of my favorite teeth in my entire collection. For the T-Rex side is another super colossal figure, but this one is actually custom colored. Check out this awesome green camo painting. It's even got some battle damage on its side too. Now let's get started with our our smaller T-Rex and I-Rex figures. Let's grab this Camp Cretaceous Extreme Battle Damage I-Rex figure. It's quite a bit smaller than the Super Colossal version, but it has some action buttons. One for the jaws and another button to activate the battle damage. Let's set this I-Rex right next to the Super Colossal. For our next T-Rex, we've got the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure features much more intricate painting than many of the Mattel figures, and it is very adjustable and posable as well. Let's set this up right next to the Super Colossal. Let's grab our next I-Rex figure. We're gonna go with this hybrid, crazy looking I-Rex. It's got a bright red color all the way down its back, some crazy coloring, and some gold on the side as well. And check out this feature. That is pretty cool. Let's set this up right underneath the Super Colossal figure. And grabbing our next T-Rex figure, let's go with this custom colored Fire T-Rex. This figure is quite a bit smaller than the Hammond Collection figure, but it has even cooler painting in my opinion. Let's set this one up to face off with the I-Rexes. Back to the I-Rexes, we've got this older Jurassic World Indominus Rex figure. And this one's pretty unique because it actually has a rubberized neck and jaw. Let's set this up right next to the bright I-Rex figure. The next T-Rex figure is the Jurassic World Dominion T-Rex. It's got a lot of darker detailing along its body compared to other T-Rex figures, and it has an awesome, huge chomping action. Let's set this T-Rex up way in the back. For the I-Rexes, let's go ahead and grab this other huge figure. Now this Indominus Rex figure is pretty similar to the battle damage version, but it does not have the battle damage on the side. Instead, it has a button that swings its arms. And let's set this one up in the back too. For the T-Rexes, let's grab this slightly smaller T-Rex. It's got the dark brown coloring on top and the gray brown coloring on the sides. And of course, it's got a roar and chomping action. Let's set this one up real close to the Indominus Rexes. We're getting pretty close. Back to the I-Rexes, let's grab this really strange looking I-Rex figure. This is by Imaginext, and this figure has a super cool swinging and chomping action. Look at that, it swings its whole neck and torso around. Let's set this up right next to its other buddies. Our next T-Rex figure is an orange version with battle damage painted all over its body. It's got damage on its torso, on its leg, its tail, and even its face too. Let's set this dino up right next to the other T-Rexes. I've got another huge I-Rex figure right here, and this one might be the craziest colored of them all. This figure is the exact same size as these other two figures here, but it's got some crazy orange, purple, blue, and black. Here's another extreme battle damage Tyrannosaurus Rex. I believe this one was from Camp Cretaceous. Let's check out that battle damage right on the side. Let's set this T-Rex up in the back, right next to the Dominion T-Rex. Here is the Sound Surge Indominus Rex. It's a lot smaller than many of the other figures, but this one comes with some really cool sound effects. Let's sneak this Indominus Rex right back here. I've also got the Sound Surge T-Rex figure as well. Let's check out these sound effects. Let's put this little T-Rex underneath the larger T-Rexes. Next up, I believe this is part of the Rowdy Roars collection. Here is another wild-looking I-Rex. Check it out, it's got a chomping and biting action. It's pretty cool. Let's put this right front and center. For the T-Rex side, we've got a special hybrid T-Rex. Check out the spikes that pop out of its back. That is super cool looking. Let's set this up close to the front. For the I-Rexes, we've got a smaller figure. This one has some battle damage right on the side that you can open and close. Plus, you can chomp the jaw by moving the tail. I think we've got a little more space in the front up here. And here is our last big T-Rex figure for this Versus collection. This is a red and black spotted T-Rex. Plus, it's got a little action button on its back to chomp its jaw. and we'll set it down right behind the T-Rex with the spikes. Here's an even smaller I-Rex figure. It's got some battle damage on the side. You can't open and close, but you can still use the tail to chomp the jaw. Let's set this I-Rex right in the front here. We're getting real close now. And finally, we've got some miniature T-Rex and I-Rex figures right here. Let's go ahead and set up this completely clear I-Rex figure in the front. And on the opposing side, this tiny orange T-Rex. All right, now they are all in formation. Which side do you think would win? The I-Rexes or the T-Rexes? Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out a ton of Predator dinosaur figures from the Camp Cretaceous collection. And I've even got some huge brand new ones to open up today. Let's go ahead and start with these brand new ones. Let's start with the biggest one at the bottom here. This is the super colossal Indominus Rex. Let's open it up. This thing is already huge. Let's get those legs and tail on. Here is the fully assembled super colossal Indominus Rex. So first off, it has the typical coloring that the smaller Indominus Rexes have. But when you open up the mouth, you can see that there's a tunnel that goes all the way down into the stomach compartment right here. So you can actually feed this Indominus Rex miniature dinosaurs and then empty it out through the stomach right here. That is super cool. Plus, even though this thing is huge, it still is fully adjustable. Of course, you can adjust the jaw. You can also twist the neck. You can adjust the arms up and down. You can move the legs and ankles. And of course, you can move the tail. All in all, I'd say this dinosaur is probably around 2 feet tall and maybe 3 feet long. We've still got 2 brand new dinosaurs to open up. Let's start with the Albertosaurus. All right, so this is a medium-sized dinosaur. As you can see, it is a mostly green dinosaur, but it has those red striping on its side from the head all the way to its stomach on both sides. And there's an action button on the tail. If you press the button, it chomps the jaw. Plus, if you twist the tail, it moves its head back and forth like that. I have a few other Albertosauruses. Some of them even have battle damage on the side. This one does not, so this is just the normal primal attack Albertosaurus. Next up, we've got a feeding frenzy Indominus Rex. Let's open it up. All right, here is the feeding frenzy Indominus Rex. Let's check it out. So it has the same coloring as the huge one that we just saw, and it has this huge face and jaw too. This dinosaur comes with tons of sound effects, and it comes with this piece of meat. Let's see what happens when you feed it. So it's making some growling noises, and when it hits the trigger in there, its eyes start glowing too. That is pretty cool. And I love how big the teeth are on this dinosaur as well. Just look at that. Those are so huge. Right up top here, we've got another Indominus Rex. This one is still huge, not quite as huge as the super colossal one that we just opened up. And as you can see, it's colored kind of the same. It has some dark gray on the top and a lighter gray on the sides. It's got those orange eyes. And this dinosaur has 2 action buttons on it. First, you've got the tail button that activates the jaw. And then you've got a button on its back that activates the slashing action. All in all, this is a really cool Indominus Rex figure. Up next, we've got a giant Spinosaurus with dark green coloring on the sides. And on its spine, there's red, white, and a little bit of green at the bottom. Plus, this Spinosaurus is fully adjustable with the neck, the arms, the legs, and the tail. And of course, you can press the button on the top of its head to open its jaw. This is a super awesome figure and huge. Right up here, we've got a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but I believe that this one was custom colored. So you won't really see coloring like this on other T-Rexes that you can get. But look how cool it is. It's bright red, black on the top, and then the orange on the sides. It almost looks like the T-Rex is on fire. That is so awesome. Back here, we've got another T-Rex. This one is normal color. It's got brown on the sides, a darker brown on the top, and the tan belly. Plus, this dinosaur has a few action buttons as well. You can move the tail, and it moves its head around, which I really like. It's super realistic. And there's even a button on the tail that you can press to open its jaw. Back here, we've got another T-Rex, but this one is battle damage. Look at that right on the side. And pressing the button, you can turn it on and off. That is super awesome. And this T-Rex is fully adjustable with the legs, tail, neck, and the jaw as well. Back here, we've actually got another battle damage T-Rex, but this one is a bit different than the other one. Instead of having the thing on its side right here, you can see that there's a bunch of slashes all over its body, on the tail, on its legs, on its belly, and even on its face. And just like the other T-Rexes, this is fully adjustable. You can move the tail, the legs, the arms, the neck, and this one has a button at the top to make it roar. Here is another giant Spinosaurus with different coloring than the last one we saw. This one is mostly brown with the red detailing. You can see along its face it's got that bright red coloring as well as along its spine. And even on the top you can see that there's a lighter tan and then a dark brown color right along the top. That is super cool. Fully adjustable, and it has the button on the head that you can use to open its jaw. Up next, we've got the mighty Carcharodontosaurus. This dinosaur is a mostly tan yellow coloring, but you can see that there's orange and brown striping all the way up to its head. And this dinosaur has an action button as well. With the button on its back, you can do the chomping action. Here is the Tarbosaurus. This dinosaur has totally different coloring. It is a dark gray color with black stripes all along its body. It's got those spikes all along its spine, and right on its chin and on its neck is a bright red color. This dinosaur is fully adjustable with its arms, legs, tail. The tail actually controls the head, and the button on the tail controls the jaw as well. Here's another fierce predator. This is an Allosaurus. It's a dark green color with red and white speckles on its neck and face. And it is fully adjustable, and it's got this slide action. That is super awesome. Right over here, we've got the great Metriacanthosaurus. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a yellow-green color on the sides. It's got the green coloring on top with the action button that controls its jaw. And it is fully adjustable in the legs and arms as well. Right over here, we've actually got a few Baryonyxes with totally different coloring. This first one, gray coloring with blue and a bright blue on the top, and it has a slide action for its roars. This second Baryonyx is brown colored, and it has blue detailing on the top and a bright orange top of the head. And the action button on this dinosaur activates the jaw. All right, here's another massive predator. This is a Carnotaurus. This dinosaur can be controlled by its tail. When you move its tail, it moves its head around. There's also a button on the tail to activate the jaw. And I love the coloring on this. This is like a dark brown red color with speckles of like a gray color as well. So it's quite detailed and fully adjustable as usual too. Right over here, we've got a super long-nosed dinosaur. This is the Sarcophagus. This is a clay red color on the top. Look at all those spikes along the top of its body. And along the bottom is a dark green color. But I love the detail of all those spikes along its back. That really gives it a strong texture. That's really cool. And the tail, of course, controls the head, so you can move the head around. Right back here, we've got a winged dinosaur. I'm sure you recognize this from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. This is the Quetzalcoatlus, and it has 2 action buttons. The first on the top flaps its wings, and there's actually one on the bottom that controls the mouth. Oh, here's a dinosaur you don't see too much of. This is a Ceratosaurus. This dinosaur is gray with splotches of dark brown, and of course the red back and the super bright red face with the white horn on the very top. This dinosaur has an action button on its back that controls its jaw, and the rest of its body is fully adjustable. Right back here is another Sarcophagus, but this one has totally different coloring. It's got the blue bottom, the dark purple top, same spines though, and then it's got orange and red splotches all over its back. That is super cool. Here is another unusual predator. This is the Majungasaurus. This dinosaur is pretty brightly colored. Although it's mostly green in the back, it has those bright yellow coloring right along its back and that bright blue color right on its neck and on its head. And this figure has quite a lot of sound effects, as you can hear. The tail also moves the head around so you can make it look super realistic. All right, this is another super noisy dinosaur. This is the Cryolophosaurus. This figure is dark blue around most of its body, and it's got the orange head and neck as well. I love that accent. And with this tail, you can adjust the head and wiggle it around. How cool is that? All right, here is a full-sized Allosaurus. I love the coloring on this dinosaur. It's got the tan yellow bottom and the bright blue top. That is so cool. I think we've actually got 2 Allosauruses here, both with different coloring. So let's check this one out first. This one has 2 action buttons on the top. The first controls its jaw, and the second button controls its arms. How cool is that? The legs are fully adjustable, and the tail you can twist as well. The second Allosaurus is mostly gray with the yellow splotches all along the top of its body. And this has 1 action button on its back where you press it and it controls the jaw. Right over here, we've got a brightly colored Suchomimus. This is a bright yellow with brown along its spine, and this dinosaur has a few action buttons. The first controls its neck and jaw, and the second controls its tail. Plus, the rest of the figure is fully adjustable as well. Oh, here's actually a second Suchomimus with totally different coloring. This one is mostly blue along the entire body, but it's got the yellow detailing along its spine as well as those splotches. And this Suchomimus has 1 action on its back. When you press it down, it does a chomping action. All right, here's another Baryonyx with different coloring. This Baryonyx is light brown on the sides and the belly, and on the top has a dark blue coloring all along its back to the tail and to the head. But the coolest part of the coloring is this super reflective blue coloring right on its head. This Baryonyx is fully adjustable, and it has 1 action button for its jaw. Here is another Cryolophosaurus. This one is differently colored than the last one that we saw. It's mostly yellow with the brown on the top and of course the bright orange crown on its head. This dinosaur is fully adjustable. You can move the tail to adjust the head. And of course, as you can hear, it comes with tons of sound effects. Here is another Metriacanthosaurus. But once again, different coloring than the last one we saw. This one is a bright red color with brown detailing all along its back. And on the head, you can see that it's got that bright orange and yellow coloring. There is 1 action button on this dinosaur, and that controls the jaw. Up next, we've got another Carcharodontosaurus. Check out the coloring on this one. This is a bright blue coloring, and it's got the brown and orange specks on its back and neck, and right around its eye as well. This dinosaur is fully adjustable with legs, arms, and tail. And there's one action button on its back that when you press, it does a chomping action. All right, we've got another Baryonyx right here. This one is bright green with brown on the top. And as usual, the arms and legs are fully adjustable, and there is one action button on the top that controls its jaw. All right, check this one out. I remember this from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. This is a Dimetrodon. And look at that huge spine on its back. It's red with yellow speckles all over it. And with this dinosaur figure, when you wiggle the tail back and forth, it opens and closes its jaw. All right, I see a ton of velociraptors in here. Let's pull a few out. This velociraptor is a green color with a darker green along the top and is fully adjustable. Even with the mouth, you can open and close. The second velociraptor is different coloring. This is a blue along most of its body. It's got the tan bottom, but the coolest part of all, it's got the yellow along the top and a shining gold along its head. It's actually reflective, which is super cool. And this velociraptor is mostly tan. You can see it along the bottom and the sides with a brown top. But most importantly, this velociraptor has a slashing action. It is spring-loaded, so you can actually twist its torso back and forth, and it'll do this slashing action. All right over here, we've got a baby T-Rex with a jaw-chomping action, brightly green colored, and fully adjustable. And this is a Dilophosaurus. It is mostly gray colored with darker gray along the top. But this Dilophosaurus actually has an action. When you move the tail, it activates its frills. That's so cool. We've still got more velociraptors in here. Let's check them out. Here are 4 velociraptors. The first is an orangish velociraptor, and it has the slashing action. The next velociraptor is a bright red color with green striping on the top. Look at how bright this velociraptor is, and it is fully adjustable. The next velociraptor is a classic one. This is blue, and it comes with battle damage on the side as well. And this velociraptor is more of a yellow coloring with brown on the top. This one also comes with battle damage on the side as well. All right, just a few dinosaurs left. This is a Herrerasaurus. It is all green, and it has different shades of green all along its body. And it is fully adjustable with the mouth, the neck, the arms, and the legs. Over here, we've got a weird-looking dinosaur. This is the Shringosaurus. Look at those huge horns on its head, and the brown coloring on the top, and the yellow on the sides. This is quite the odd-looking dinosaur. At least I think so. And our last 2 dinosaurs of this collection. First, we've got the Great Dimorphodon. This is mostly a gray color with a dark red along the bottom of its wings, but it's still fully adjustable with its legs, its mouth, its neck, and its wings. And this velociraptor is a dark gray color with yellow detailing right along the top of it, and is fully adjustable as well. Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out this huge collection of dinosaur toys that I have on my shelves right here. Let's go ahead and start right over here with the Tapehara. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's a little winged dinosaur. Look at that. That is pretty cool. But what I'm most excited to show you is this giant T-Rex right here. Look at the size of that thing, and it's custom colored too. Up next, we've got a little Chialingosaurus right here. It's a cute little guy, you know? Beside it, we've got this nice little Indominus Rex here. It's like a little baby Indominus Rex. And its mouth opens and closes too. And then right beside it, we've got Mama Indominus Rex. Wow, look at the size of that thing. And it's even got a stomach compartment so you can actually feed the dinosaur other smaller dinosaurs. And right beside it, we've got another gigantic T-Rex. Look at that. This is so cool. This is such a huge dinosaur. And right beside it, we've got a little dinosaur called the Shringosaurus. Check out those horns. It's a funny looking dinosaur, don't you think? Over here, we've got this cool rubbery Indominus Rex. It's got this rubber skin texture that makes it feel kind of like a real life skin, you know? And right beside it, we've got one of my favorite dinosaurs, the Carnotaurus. Look at how ferocious they look and those huge horns on top. Up next, we've got another massive T-Rex. Look at the size of that compared to the dinosaurs beside it. And this one's a cool gray color too. And look at those teeth. Those are some huge teeth. Moving on, we've got a little baby Triceratops right here. Look how cute he is. And he's got the battle damage on the side as well. And right beside it, we've got another vicious red dinosaur too. This is an awesome colored dinosaur. Check that out. And at the very end of the shelf here, we've got a cute little Gallimimus. Isn't that cute? Moving on to the next shelf, we've got this giant Quetzalcoatlus. Look at the size of this thing. Those wings are huge. Up next, we've got a Mama Dilophosaurus and a baby Dilophosaurus, still inside the egg. Moving on over here, we've got this awesomely covered Sarcophagus. Over here, we've got this yellow dinosaur with the red top and that huge horn, but I'm not sure what kind of dinosaur this is. Do you know? Why don't you let me know in the comments below. On our next shelf, we've got this awesome looking Triceratops. Look at the size of those horns and all those little horns along the edge too. Right beside it, we've got this cute little Ankylosaurus right here. And up next, we've got this massive Ceratosaurus. Let's see what kind of noises it makes. Wow, that is super amazing. Right next to it is a dinosaur called the Calavosaurus. This is a smaller dinosaur, but look at that coloring too. I really like that yellow and blue combination. Up next, we've got the Ouranosaurus, and it's got a button right here. Let's see what happens. Whoa, that is super cool. That is awesome. On to the next shelf over here. This is a Dracorex. It's a smaller dinosaur, but check out all those spikes on its head right there. And right next to it, we've got another big dinosaur, the Cryolophosaurus here. Look at that yellow coloring with the orange on top. That is super cool. Right beside it, we've got a giant Pteranodon. Look at the size of this thing. It has to be like a foot wide with the wings. And the final dinosaur on this level is the Suchomimus. Moving down to the next shelf, we've got a huge Indominus Rex. Look at this. And he's even got space inside the mouth that you can fit dinosaurs in. Right beside it, I've got a little Herrerasaurus. This is a little guy, you know, but it's still a pretty cool collectible. And of course, one of the most popular dinosaurs, the T-Rex. And right beside it, we've got one of the largest ocean dinosaurs, the Mosasaurus. This is a super cool dinosaur, and I love having this one on my shelf. All right, let's move on. Oh, over here, check this out. This is a Scorpius Rex. Wow, that is super cool. Right beside him, we've got Owen from the Jurassic World movies. Say hi, Owen. Up next, we've got this beautifully colored Narsutoceratops. And I think the horns on this guy is even bigger than a Triceratops. Look at that. And over here, we've got this little T-Rex. It's green colored, but it has the battle damage on the side too. And right beside it, we've got the Carcharodontosaurus, and it has an action button. That is super awesome. And the last one on this shelf is the Dilophosaurus with that super bright coloring. Up next, we've got another giant Indominus Rex. But check this one out. This is a hybrid Indominus Rex. Look at that coloring and the spikes and the gold on its claw. And it's got this button right here. That is so cool. Right beside it, I've got this little Gallimimus dinosaur. And right next to that, the Albertosaurus. And this dinosaur has battle damage as well. Check that out. Moving on, we've got a huge Stegosaurus right here with those massive spikes on its tail right there. And the last one on this level is the beautiful Concavenator. Look at that bright red on its back and that purple right on its face too. And it's got an action button. Let's see what happens. All right, moving down a level. Here we go. All right, another giant Mosasaurus. Everyone watch out! And over here, we've got another small water dinosaur. This is called the Plesiosaurus. Right beside it, this awesome T-Rex. And look at this button on it. Look at what it does. Wow, look at that roar action. That is so cool. And in the middle shelf, we've got a Baryonyx right here. Oops, I knocked over this guy. This one is a Pachycephalosaurus. And another T-Rex. Look how giant these are compared to the other dinosaurs. That is so cool. And right next to the T-Rex, I've got this awesome colored Dimetrodon. Look at this. Look at the size of that spine on its back too. And over here, oh, do you see that? It's a Velociraptor. Look out, oh no. And over here, perched on its rock, is a Pteranodon. One of the coolest flying dinos. At least I think so. Okay, moving on to the next shelf. We've got this awesome looking Baryonyx. Look at that. And right beside it, a cute little Stygimoloch with battle damage on the side. Over here, we've got a giant Stegosaurus. Look at the size of this thing compared to the Stygimoloch. That is huge. But wait, you haven't seen huge until you've seen the next one, which is the giant Spinosaurus. Wow. This dinosaur is so cool. And the final dinosaur on this level is the great Carnotaurus. Everybody watch out. All right, let's move down another level. This is the final level, and it has some more giant dinosaurs, like this giant Apatosaurus. Look at the size of this guy. Right beside it, I've got this awesome blue Velociraptor. Look at the coloring on him. And right beside it, we've got another giant Spinosaurus. These are so cool. I love the coloring on their spines. But wait, there's even more. Look at this giant Velociraptor. This is huge. It's probably 2 or 3 feet long. And right below it, we've got Blue the Velociraptor as well. Moving on to the next shelf here, what do we have? We've got a giant Carnotaurus. Look at those horns. And it's even got some battle damage as well. Look at that. And with this dinosaur, you can actually feed it smaller dinosaurs, and it has a stomach compartment at the bottom too. That is super cool. And a baby Carnotaurus, look at that. Over beside it, we've got a family of Brachiosauruses here. Look, here's the first baby, and here's the second baby. And then we've got the mama Brachiosaurus right here. This one is huge. But check out beside it on the next shelf, this is a giant T-Rex. And look at all the battle damage that it has on its neck and on its face too. Look at the size of those teeth right there. Some of them are broken because this is an old toy, but this is still a really cool looking T-Rex. And look at that, right next to it, we've got a smaller T-Rex, ready to fight as well. And right beneath it is another dinosaur that I would not want to mess with in the wild because of the size of these spikes. This is the Sauropelta. And last but certainly not least is this giant Velociraptor and this tiny little Dimorphodon on top. But check out this velociraptor. Look at those teeth in its mouth. And just like the other giant dinosaurs I have, this velociraptor has a stomach compartment. So you can actually feed it small dinosaurs, and it goes all the way down to its stomach where you can take them out again. That is super cool. All right, that is all the dinosaurs that I am currently displaying on my dinosaur shelves. I hope you enjoyed checking out all these dinosaurs, and I can't wait to see you next time when I show you even more. Want to see more dino videos? Click the subscribe button now.